Ladies and gentlemen, I am very touched to have been asked to say a few words to you today, and just as sorry I cannot be with you in person, as I cannot think of many gatherings I would prefer to be amongst than a room full of enthusiastic botanists. Now, I need hardly say what a special pleasure it is for me to address such a distinguished group of experts, as I happen to be involved in some way or other with the three organizations leading such an important global initiative: the Foundation and Friends of the Royal Botanic Gardens at Kew, the Royal Botanic Garden in Edinburgh, and Botanic Gardens Conservation International. I also happen to be patron of both the Botanic Gardens of Wales and Oxford, so I have at least some idea of the issues you are discussing. Now, I'm afraid I've seen too much evidence over the years of what happens when the needs of the land are ignored, and how this inevitably has a dire impact on the people who live within such ecosystems. I have long monitored a steady stream of depressing reports from bodies like the United Nations showing how our industrial ambitions have caused long-term degradation of vital ecosystems. One figure alone chills me to the bone: the fact that every year around 22,000 square miles of land becomes desert. And I learned recently that in China alone, 400 million people live in areas that could very soon become deserts, all because the land has been overgrazed, deforested, or drained of its water. In some regions, there are dunes up to 400 meters high that shift relentlessly through the landscape, swallowing everything in their path. I cannot think of a more symbolic image of what we are doing to the earth and what the earth is likely to do to us in return. This is why the Ecological Restoration Alliance is such an important venture, and I can only encourage you to be bold, even if it looks sometimes as if all is lost. 2 years ago, I came across a remarkable example of what can be done if there is the will and the know-how. It is in a region called the Loess Plateau in north-central China. And if you saw it 15 years ago, you would have thought nothing could be done. The region is the size of Belgium, and it had been completely destroyed by overgrazing. And yet by replanting trees on hilltops, they managed to strengthen the structure of the soil so that it could retain rainwater. Then they built vast numbers of terraced fields enriched with plenty of organic matter, which were then managed using a careful system of rotation, a technique which has all too often been abandoned around the world in the false belief that we can somehow keep on taking from the land without ever giving anything back to nature. In 2009, I was fortunate to see for myself how ecological restoration can transform a landscape and, crucially, the lives of the people who live within it. I was the guest of the Amazon Permaculture Institute, which has been restoring an area of deforested land near the city of Manaus in Brazil. And in this case, the rainforest trees have been torn down to make way for farming. But this exposed the delicate soil to erosion, and without the trees, the soil became useless, and it was incapable of supporting any kind of farming, the very thing they had cleared the trees to make way for. In little more than a decade, this remarkable project has integrated agroforestry, aquaculture, and multiple animal systems within a restored landscape. The whole now forms a virtuous circle within which all the necessary animal feed is grown and biofuels for the farm vehicles and machinery are produced. What is so deeply impressive is the practical way in which the Institute demonstrates how genuine sustainability can be achieved by applying the principles it has developed. Unfortunately, like so many examples, this is on a small scale, but it offers an inspiring model that could so easily be scaled up. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, your initiative gives me such hope. When I was in Brazil, I was also frankly astonished to discover that in that country alone, there are some 65 million hectares of degraded land. I came home trying to imagine what the figure must be for the rest of the world. So your aim of restoring the ecology of 100 sites around the world is a tremendously important step. It is bound to inspire others to do the same. It is also a brilliant way, if I may say so, of deploying the vast knowledge and expertise that resides in botanical gardens around the world, and of utilizing the important specimens of living material in your care. Ultimately, though, my hope is that the Ecological Restoration Alliance will help establish a view of the world which stands counter to the predominant one we have been harnessed to for so long. For too many years, the issue of degraded land has been seen as just another environmental issue, when in fact it is much more than that. It is also an economic issue and a social issue. The three are profoundly interlinked. By improving one, we increase the chances of nurturing all three. By guaranteeing the survival of nature's capital, we enrich what I would call community capital. That is why, although I'm sure the earth would thank you for what you're about to do, many millions of people will also be very much in your debt. So I can only wish you every possible success in the months and years ahead, and I do look forward to seeing the results of what is certainly an ambitious target, but one I know that in such an alliance you are more than capable of achieving. It is, after all, vital for our continued existence on this planet.